we can always combine different things. So we can create elements using the default walls or roofs or ceilings, and then we can use the component model in place or the massing and side elements. If we create a floor on level 0, it's like a rectangle. We can use a rectangle. And we click OK. Then on the 3D view, remember that you can always access the 3D view here. There is a floor. We have this level 0. We have a level 1 there. And what if we want to divide this into different things? So imagine that I want to create a component model in place and then use extrusion to create a volume. So I can create a component model in place. I can create a topography. And using extrusion, I can select this and this. But now I want to divide this rectangle. So if I want to divide it, I can use the middle point. You see that there is always a snap point in the middle point. Then I can use this command, trim. If we trim that corner, and then we have created a rectangle here that it's half the original rectangle. We click OK, and on the 3D view, you know that we can do this. Okay, so we have created a floor using the floor change model, using the floor command here, floor. And then I have to use the architecture component model in place there. Okay. What if we don't want this to be another rectangle here? What if we want to divide this in a different position? Or if we find that we don't like the shape that we have done, we can always edit in place. So if we edit in place, and if we select this, we can edit extrusion. Okay, so now you see that we have pink lines, and we can edit this, making sure that every single shape we do is a closed loop. So we always have to trim or extend these corners, so that if we do this, you see that we have created a different shape. Now we can finish the model. Okay, so let's do this one more time. I want to edit in place. This is not enough. I have to select the volume again, and I have to edit the extrusion. And if I want to edit the extrusion, but now I want to create, because here you see that we have lines, rectangles, polygons, circles, and we have curves. So I want to do this. I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to create, well, different things. If we want to create a arc, we can use the first option, and then we can select the first point, the second point, and then we can select the radius of the arc. Do this. There you go. So we have created an arc. Finish model. I'm going to do it again. Edit in place, edit extrusion. Then I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to explore this one, center ends arc. Well, with this option, the first point has to be the center of the arc, and then well, we do this. Okay. What if we want to close this? We have to use the trim. If we do this, we can use the trim again, and now this is perfect. And if we want to keep doing arches up to this point, we can use this one, the tangent. This is really interesting, because if we continue to do this, we create tangent elements, and that makes sense because we can create a smooth curve without this kind of points. Okay, so there's a tangency between the first and the second circle or arc, but remember that it has to be a closed loop always. Okay, so once it is a closed loop, we can do this, and now we have this shape. Finish model. Okay, so remember that we can edit this by selecting it, edit in place, then we have to select it again, and then we have to edit the extrusion. Cancel. And for example, if I want to do something different now, I'm going to use a architecture component model in place. Topography again. But I'm going to use other options. Let's do this revolve, a solid revolve. If we keep the mouse there, we see that we have a shape, and then we do this. So we can sketch a shape, and then we rotate this around the axis, and we have this. Okay, so let's do something like that. So let's use revolve. And that's interesting because here you see that we can set the work plane. And probably this is something that we have to understand now. We are using revolve. If I'm on level 0, sorry, if I click here, set by default, we have level 0. So let's do it. And I'm going to create a circle. I have a circle here. Then we can select the axis line. So imagine that I select this as an axis line, and then click OK. And what has happened? Whoop. Okay, we have a donut. So what have I done? I have created this shape, and this is the axis angle. So we have done this. We have revolved the original shape around this axis here. Okay, is this what we want? Well, maybe. But if we want something like that, if we want this donut, a horizontal donut here, probably we'll need to create the shape and the axis in a different plane, not in a level in a horizontal plane, but in a vertical plane. So let's click finish. Okay. So now I want to create this donut, but horizontally. So the original shape has to be vertical, and then we need an axis that it's parallel to the screen. Okay, let's do it. But first, we need an auxiliary plane in which we can start placing our original circle. So to do that, I'm going to use architecture reference plane. Okay, a reference plane, it's very useful because it's a line, so we can do this. And it's very important to name this reference plane. So you have to click here, and this is reference plane 1. Okay. Now I need an elevation, so I have to work on an elevation in which I can see this reference plane. So if I'm working with this, with the east elevation, I don't see the reference plane because this elevation is parallel to this reference plane, so I don't see it. But if I'm here, I do see this reference plane, and I can work here. So I'm going to use the south elevation. If I use the south elevation, well, I see the shapes that I have done before. I don't see the reference plane, so it's not there. But if I select architecture component, model in place, another topography, whatever. And if I set my work plane as reference plane 1, everything I drew would be in this reference plane. Let's do it. I'm going to use revolve again. I'm going to create a circle, and now the circle is here. And now I need to define the axis line. So if the axis line is this vertical one, and then I click finish, there you go. In the 3D view, I have created this thing. Then I can finish model. Can I edit it? Yes, I can. I can always select this shape. I can edit in place. I have to select it again, and then I can edit revolve. And if I edit revolve, you see that I can change this circle. I can make it smaller, or I can even change the axis. And if I do this, then this donut has changed as well. Okay, so those are basic tools that are very useful. They're not architecture yet. So we have created here, we are working with volumes, shapes. We are turning 2D shapes into 3D volumes. So we're not talking about architecture yet, but those are elements that in a different context can be part of a building, okay? But we are not using the traditional Revit tools. We are not building walls, doors, windows, columns, or roofs. We're just working with shapes. So that's why working with this model in place tool, it's quite convenient, especially if we want to work with this kind of abstract shapes that they can become, I don't know, part of a building. Okay, but they are not architecture yet. So they are volumes made out of lines or surface. But I want you to understand the difference between working with this, with the floor, and working with a component model in place that basically we can do whatever we feel like. So remember that in this tutorial, we have explored model in place, whatever, and we have used extrusion and revolve. In other tutorials, we will use other options so that you can understand what we can do with Revit.